Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, let's examine Mr. Senior Counsel Otiende Amollo. Is he guilty of terminological inexactitude? Let's take a look and break down what he said in Spice FM. I promise I will bring this video to you so we can break it down and see if he's really guilty of this. Take a look.
Has sat where you're seated today.
Twice.
And the last time he was here, he actually spoke about those two issues and those two letters. He says, you drafted the letters and sent the letters to him, and he looked at them. And now, you two people are senior lawyers. You're senior counsel. He's a lawyer with many years of experience. This whole argument of who can instruct, whether you can instruct, whether you cannot, we just need clarity. You wrote the Constitution. Can the Department on Justice and Legal Affairs forget about the bipartisan talks? Can it instruct the IEBC to do something?
Yes, and I'll explain why. If you want to know the lack of good faith, you start disagreeing on the use of wordings. Okay? They drafted some very loose-ended thing, to the selection panel, saying, we request you to consider, suspending. If you are doing some work and somebody asks you, we request you to consider suspending, that means you actually have that option. You can just say, no, I decline. So I changed it to say that, to give the history of the bipartisan committee, and say, we as a committee have resolved to advise. Resolved to advise.
Right.
It is still advice, but it's stronger. You cannot tell me that now that's giving instructions which would be unlawful. Resolved to advise. You can still reject it, but the language is stronger.
So, let's keep in mind that Otiende Amollo was the head of the Azimio side in this bipartisan dialogue commission or committee. And on the other side, on the Kenya Kwanza side, it was Mr. George Murugara, who was the head of the Kenya Kwanza part of the bipartisan dialogue committee. This committee was formed for these two factions, the Azimio side and the Kenya Kwanza side, which are party coalitions, to iron out their difference. Let's keep that into perspective, okay? So the difference here seems to be that Otiende Amollo, as you can see in that video, he was very specific. He used the term, when he wrote his letter, resolved to advise the commission to actually stop the selection process, okay? The select committee to stop the selection process, okay? And George Murugara was arguing that you cannot use the term, actually not even the term, George Murugara was on the Kenya Kwanza side. He was arguing that the issue had not been resolved to that point. Okay, at that point, they had not come into a resolution. Okay, they did not resolve this issue and agree. Both of them did not agree, and they were not ready to sign on something that says that they had resolved to advise. Reason being that Murugara was arguing that first of all, you cannot use the word resolve to advise. That's why, according to Murugara, this is what he said. He said he requested to consider, use the term request to consider, asking the selection panel. They are requesting them to consider stopping the process so that these two can resolve their issues, okay? And you can hear George Murugara give his part of the story. Here, take a look at George Murugara's response to what Mr. Otiende Amollo is saying, okay? So here the difference seems to be like, Otiende Amollo was writing his letter as if the two parties had already resolved that matter, but the Kenya Kwanza side, headed by George Murugara, were claiming that, hey, this thing is not resolved, and if you're going to draft a letter as a resolution, we have to word it in a way that does not violate the law. So here's George Murugara giving his part of the speech, of his story.
Discuss the issues of IBC. Listen to what we're being told. You have to agree that the selection panel suspends its work. We said, under what law can we agree to this? No. We are above the law. Here we are not bound by any law. Here we are bound by our own whims. We said we can't agree to that. Absolutely we can't. What we do is let us request the selection panel on its own volition to agree to our request. Formally ask them. And most likely they are human beings. They'll understand what you are doing. That was disagreed.
Most
they said,
likely.
no,
Most
likely.
it is not going to.
So you establish that they are human beings.
Yeah, they're human beings.
as opposed
Because,
to-
you know, you cannot order selection panel under the law.
That's
you have
true.
to cite the law.
Yeah.
So what we did was
Request
we,
them.
we requested, that was my letter.
Yeah.
He redrafted it. He made it a resolution of the committee. I refused to sign. I said, this is not a resolution of the committee. It is a request by the committee. Now the next demand was we have to compel IBC to preserve the servers.
Yeah.
The question we asked, we are compelling as who? Where are we getting the power to compel an independent commission to do ABCD? What we do is let's cite the law. Let's cite the Elections Act and the regulations thereunder. Remind them that they are under an obligation under the Act and the regulations to preserve election material for 3 years. I drafted the letter that way. Otiende Amollo rejected it. He
On
said,
what
you know,
basis?
he said, this is not good enough.
It has to be a resolution.
It has to be a resolution of the committee. So he said, sorry.
And the resolution, as you say, would actually be going against the law.
It could be going against the Elections Act.
Because you cannot order
You
the
cannot
IBC.
order IBC to do anything. But you can remind IBC it is bound
their
by the law.
obligations.
Their obligations under the law. So that is the draft I had given to Honorable Otiende Amollo. It's a draft he rejected, and he gave me 2 different drafts. And unfortunately, I couldn't agree to this because to me, I felt they were going out.
Independence to the selection panel. That is for the constitutional commissions.
Yeah.
So this idea that you cannot instruct the selection panel, where does it come from? The selection panel is constituted by the president. And as far as we know, is taking instructions from the executive. So you can't now tell us that we cannot instruct, and then at the same time, you tell us, as they were telling us initially, that there is no need to write that letter because you are advised that the speaker already told them not to continue. If the speaker can instruct them not to continue, why can't we instruct them? You know? Secondly,
Well, did the speaker actually instruct the selection panel, or did the speaker request? Okay, that's the difference, because there's a huge difference there. But anyway, let's go on. Otiende Amollo, keep on going.
it is true that the commission, as a commission with commissioners, cannot be instructed on how to do its work.
Yep.
That is true. But 2 things. First, I told you that the commission derives its mandate from Article 1. Okay? It is delegated authority. It is delegated from the people. As a bipartisan committee, we are exercising that sovereign power on behalf of the people. The people can instruct IBC. The people can instruct Parliament. Okay? So you see the difference. We are exercising
I
that
don't
sovereign.
see the difference really. Parliament is the house that has representatives of the people, right? If we just follow that argument, it's like you're saying
Latif,
that
let me-
Parliament
let
can
me explain to you.
instruct any independent office.
No.
Because
You are
it's the
missing
people
it.
instructing the independent
I
office.
want you to look at Article 1, and I can read it, okay? Start by saying sovereign authority belongs to the people,
That's true.
and they can exercise it directly
Or-
or through their elected representatives.
Yes.
That's number 1. Then it continues to say that sovereign power is delegated to several bodies.
Institution.
Okay?
Yeah.
And for these purposes, it includes independent commission. The sovereign authority is the one that is delegated. When we are acting as the bipartisan here, and I think that's where you're losing it, we are not acting on behalf of Parliament. Remember, we were not constituted by Parliament. We were constituted by the 2 major factions that constitute the people. So we are exercising the sovereign authority of the people, not of Parliament.
The people did not
Not
elect you.
of Parliament.
The people did not elect the select committee.
Yeah, but that's where you're missing it. In the last elections,
Yeah.
it is claimed that William Ruto had just over 50%, and Raila Amollo Odinga just had under 50%.
Yep.
Collectively, the two factions represent the people for that purposes.
Okay.
When the two of them agree, even now, on a certain process, that process represents the people. They don't have to do an election to elect those people.
So here is where Latif actually asked a really good question. I wish Latif would have pushed more on that question of the bipartisan dialogue committee. Otiende Amollo is claiming that this committee, this commission that was given this task to iron out the dispute between the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, that they had their sovereign authority to do A, B, and C. And he says that they were commissioned by the people because the people are basically represented by the majority of the people, Kenyan people, are represented by either Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. Now, Otiende Amollo, the name of the commission itself, the name is Bipartisan Dialogue Committee. Okay? Let's not lose focus on what's the main reason of this. These are two factions. One is the governing body through the Kenya Kwanza, who are ruling the government in the executive part of the government, okay? And Azimio is the minority in the parliament, okay? And Latif asked a very good question and said this, that you guys, this commission cannot claim to do A, B, and C on behalf of the people because they were not voted. And Otiende Amollo is being cheeky. He's basically saying that this commission had its power, okay, was constituted by these two political parties which represent the people, therefore they have the sovereign authority. Does the Constitution say that? Does the Constitution say that the power that's donated from the people has been given to Azimio and Kenya Kwanza? No, it does not. I don't care how big these two political party coalitions are. Okay? This commission was given this task by these two political coalitions to iron out their difference. They do not have the sovereign authority of the people. It's just a commission to take care of these differences that these guys had between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. What about the independents? Do they have their say? That's why the other side, the Kenya Kwanza side, they were saying that anything that this commission, any resolution that they had, was to go through the parliament to give it any kind of legitimacy. Because the parliament, the National Assembly, is the body, is the legislative body, the government, arm of government that has been given the power that has been donated to them by the people. So any resolution that comes from this commission should go to the parliament and be voted on for any legitimacy. You can't claim that, oh, I have the sovereign power from the people. The power has been donated to me by the people of Kenya because I am part of Kenya Kwanza, because I am part of Azimio. No. Otiende Amollo, you're being cheeky over here. You're being cheeky. So that's where I disagree with Otiende Amollo right there. That commission did not have the sovereign authority that has been donated to the people through the parliament, okay? No matter how big Kenya Kwanza, no matter how big Azimio is, the Kenyan people, the sovereign power of the Kenyan people did not donate their power to Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, okay? it gave its power to the parliament, the people they voted. Their political party or party coalition notwithstanding, they voted the people, the representative. So if there's anything this commission has to do, they have to take it to parliament for any kind of legitimacy. Anyway, go on. This is the last part of Otiende Amollo. Let's hear what he has to say lastly.
The independence of commissions is in respect of what they are supposed to do. You cannot direct them how to do their work. But that does not immunize any commission. And you remember being a chair of a commission. It does not immunize the commission, okay, from doing that which it ought to do. In this case, no one is asking IBC to do anything in terms of how to do its work. All that one is saying is this. Under Article 86 of the Constitution, okay, IEBC is required by the Constitution. One of the things that it's supposed to do is to ensure that whatever voting method is used, the system is simple, accurate, verifiable, secure, accountable, and transparent. And then under Article 35, as a commission, as a state agency, any Kenyan and anyone is entitled to access anything that he has, whether electronically or physically. And all that you are doing is reminding them of their duty under Article 35 and Article 86. You're not directing them to do anything. What's wrong with that? There cannot be anything wrong with that. You see?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it's a matter of good faith. If there is good faith, this would not detain you. In any case, look, if the commission is independent, and as a former ombudsman, I was independent. If anybody wrote to me, and once or twice, some people wrote to me, asking me to do something, all I did is to remind them that I'm independent. I won't do it. Why would the KK team in the talks be the ones telling us what the commission should respond to us?
Okay, so Otiende Amollo quotes Article 86 and 35. 35 in particular, which says every citizen has the right of access to information held by the state or information held by another person and required for the exercise of protection of any or fundamental freedom. Great. All right. If that's the case then, Otiende Amollo, why don't you just write to the IEBC or selection parliament or whatever the case is to get that information? Write to the IEBC, tell them, hey, listen, I want to go check your servers and I want to look in their audit and see if everything is okay. If there was no any malfeasance or any funny business, go ahead and do it. Why do you need Kenya Kwanza for? Okay? Now you see, I make that point to bring it back to the task, the major task, why this bipartisan dialogue committee was formed. This committee was formed rather, to iron out the difference between these two party coalitions. Okay? Because if that is the case, they want to remind us of Article 35 of the Constitution and Article 86, they might as well write to the IEBCs. They don't need Kenya Kwanza. But again, for what purpose are they requesting this information from IEBC? They want to ascertain the truth of what happened. I thought the case was already taken care of at the Supreme Court, where they were asked, can you show us what server do you think that there might be information that suggests that there was no transparency or there was any funny business? And the Azimio could not name any. And that's why the Supreme Court threw out the case and said, hey, you guys lost fair and square. It's hot air. Right? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Mr. Senior Counsel Otiende Amollo, you're a lawyer, but here you're being a little bit mischievous, okay? A little bit guilty of terminological inexactitude, okay? Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Tell me what you think, comment, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.